in Oklahoma, so it used to be Phillips University. So Phillips Seminary, and you all take it away, and we look forward to this.
And I don't know if you all talked, I'm sorry to interrupt. Did you all talk about this before? I'm going to go ahead and record this, okay, so we can post it on the website so people who can't be here right now can watch it whenever.
Okay. Thank you. I was supposed to do that.
Thank you. And we are seeing, I thought we were going to be able to see a slideshow. I'm Leslie LeSieur. Angela, Dawn, and Christine and Susan, it's nice to meet you all and have you here with us today. And I'll let Ulysses, my colleague, introduce himself as well to you both.
Ulysses Allen, Ulysses D. Allen, recruiter for Phillips Seminary from New Iberia, Louisiana. And I'm excited to be on this Better Together faith education on a Thursday evening. So thank you very much for inviting us.
Yeah, thank you both for being here.
Thank you.
So Ulysses and I both just want to kind of present a little bit about why we think that it's education for the whole church that we're providing at Phillips Theological Seminary. And we really kind of fall into the motto that we welcome everyone to join in conversation that exposes them to new ideas and deepening those commitments. And how to minister in today's world. And that's something that we feel kind of sets us apart, is making sure that we're relevant and practical to what's going on in today's culture and in today's times as we are in this brand new world. Who would have thought that we would all be meeting this way instead of in workshops and the things that we have all grown used to and really gotten good at. We at Phillips know that actually, Ulysses and I were just talking about yesterday how much fun we had together when we were at General Assembly, kind of tag teaming and talking to all these different people. And this is just a new way for us to do that. So we're just so grateful that you decided to share your time with us today. And with that, I'll just kind of turn it over to Ulysses and we'll just kind of be a little team.
All right, sounds great. Thank you, Leslie. One, we are very excited about this at Phillips Seminary is that during COVID, we've made 4 hires, but 2 are really, well, all of them are special, all of them are good, but 2 are faculty members. We just hired in administration. We just hired Dr. Lee H. Butler, Jr. As our Vice President of Academic Affairs and Academic Dean. He brings a wealth of experience, a wealth of knowledge. He was at Chicago Theological Seminary for multiple years, many years. And he's known and highly well respected throughout the theological world. He graduated from Drew with his PhD in 1994. And he's received degrees from Princeton and Eastern Baptist. So we're just delighted and excited to have Dr. Lee H. Butler, Jr. to lead our academic dean and vice president of academic affairs. Also, we hired Dr. Peter Capretto. He received his PhD from Vanderbilt University, and he's our assistant professor for pastoral care in religion culture. So we are really excited about that he's going to bring now another area of ministry that we can offer classes and offer experiences to not only students, but to our whole community with his teachings and with his videos and things that he's going to do, even probably at Remind and Renew sometime in the near future to come. And that's going to help those who come as visitors and alum. So we're very excited. So his study was explores how social experiences such as empathy shape the ethics and politics of care. So we're excited about that. Both of these faculty members and Dr. Butler being an administrator have been publications and published. So they're very well known. Next slide. So I want to talk briefly about our programs, our degree programs of study. The first one I want to talk about is pretty much the flagship of Phillips. It's probably our largest program, and that's the one that's very attractive to so many students, is the Master of Divinity. It's an 82-hour program where you would take 82 hours of the program and you can do some of the program online. And just to know, 24 hours can be done. 24 hours have to be done on campus. However, with COVID, it changed up a little bit, but we're not sure what Dr. Butler is going to decide as the academic dean once we're COVID free or we're able to be back on campus. I won't say COVID free. And with that, that means that currently we may have only 24 hours have to be done on campus, or maybe less than that. However, much of the program could be done online out of the 82 hours. And it provides students who live remote or who are distant learners to really still be able to receive the type of education that we feel is important for future leaders and current leaders in our churches and in our community. So we're very excited about our Master of Divinity. So we promote that one very much. Also, we're excited about our Master of Arts and Social Justice. If you know anything about Tulsa, Tulsa is a unique place when it comes down to social justice because of where we are now with rolling up on the centennial of the 1921 Tulsa Race Massacre. So Phillips felt and believed that we should develop a program that could help try to mend those bridges, mend those fences by offering social justice from an aspect of a school here in Phillips. Now, some of our students come to Tulsa and take other programs or join this program and may not know as much about the Tulsa Race Massacre, but we feel that this program and other places, this teaches us about, all right, what's important when it comes down to social justice and on a broader scale, not where it's just a racial, but it could be in other forms of social justice that so many of us have experienced in so many places. So we want to be at the forefront of helping leaders, helping lay congregants, or just helping someone who just wants to come to Phillips Seminary to understand social justice in a deeper way. So next slide. And that program, just to tell you, you have to go back, but that program is a 38-hour program. Our next two programs are the Master of Arts in Ministry and Culture. We call it MAMC. That program is designed to intertwine ministry with the culture. Like, how are you doing ministry in your setting? How are you doing ministry at the church? And how is the church dealing with the culture that's around it or the culture that's in the church? Many leaders understand that churches, no matter what size, is a culture there. And now this degree helps a leader or helps a lay person who wants to understand, how do I best fit ministry to help multiple cultures and stuff of that nature. So this degree is a 48-hour degree. The next is the Master of Theological Studies. This degree is designed for someone who I just want to dig deeper into the sacred text, dig deeper into Christian theology and understanding. This degree is a 48-hour program. And I didn't tell you, but to go back, so the 48 hours, you can do all your hours online except 16. So these two degrees, you can do all your hours except 16. And then the Master of Arts and Social Justice, you can do all the hours except 12. So our programs are very flexible. And then to talk real quick, that students receive so many benefits when they come to the campus to take these programs. So I'm excited about our programs. I'll let Leslie take it from here, and thank you. And if you need to speak, put questions and stuff in the chat while Leslie is presenting. I can chat with you or vice versa. So we are very happy to be here. Thank you.
Is Leslie frozen maybe? Oh, she's gone completely.
Oh, I didn't know. I thought she was looking at the screen.
Yeah, I think she got frozen and maybe she went out and will be right back.
Okay.
So I'm watching the waiting room.
Right. So until she comes back, I can go on to say more about these programs. One thing, I know we're going to get to the price, the cost, and the value, but just to tell everyone quickly that Phillips is affiliated with the Disciples of Christ Christian Church, and we take that very proudly because of what the denomination has done in the past and the denomination done in present and is going to do in the future. So with that, every student from the DOCCC receive 80%. So you go the per credit hour, which is $4.80. Now that credit hour becomes $96. So for you to come to Phillips for one credit for a 3-hour class is $96, which turns to be $288 per class. Now we have other fees involved in that, but far as a price at a seminary for a Master of Divinity or any type of master, that price is unbelievable. And we also, we thank donors. We thank Quick Trip. I mean, Chester Cadro, God rest his soul, was a member of Disciples of Christ Christian Church, Harvard Avenue. So he understood the importance of trying to find a way to allow ministers, lay people, allow people to take theological education without having to go bankrupt or without having to incur so much debt. So that's the reason why the Phillips board, the trustees, the alum, donors, they believe in Phillips as far as providing a high quality education, but at a very fair price. Then from the cost is up on the student. And if you know any of our faculty members, and if you work with them on committees, they are scholars to the utmost. So they're going to come to class, and they don't let the price distract them. So look, and Leslie is back.
Welcome back.
Yes.
Ah, just in time. Ulysses, did you get to talk about that D-Min program?
Oh no, I didn't even speak on that one.
Oh, well, yeah, I figured that you could take that time. I apologize. We have had really interesting connections these days, and it just decided to die when you were handing it over to me.
Oh, wow. Well, real quick, the Doctor of Ministry program, it's a 32-hour program. You don't have to write a dissertation, but you do have to do a project. And we would hope that the project is something geared to be a part of your context, where you're in ministry, your vocation, and the community around. So it's a very great program. Now that program, we are in a hybrid. So we do asynchronized and synchronized learning before you come to the campus, and then we do 1 week on campus. And then we do some asynchronized and synchronized learning after that week. And it starts as 2 terms. It starts the fall, well, the spring starts in January, and the fall will be in June. But basically, you have a January fortnight and you have a June fortnight, and the same price applies: $96 for Disciples of Christ CC Church members, affiliates, for a Doctor of Ministry. So if anyone is interested in that, please let me know. Our deadline was today for the January, but we can talk. Thank you, Leslie.
You're welcome. Sorry. So thank you, Ulysses, for giving us some of our degree programs. And in 2018, Don, you're familiar with Missouri School for Religion and Mid-America Center for Ministry. Angela, your friends Teresa and Russ were both a part of that program when it was Mid-America Center for Ministry and Missouri School of Religion. So that program in 2018 was adopted at Phillips, and we began working with them to offer this program. So it began as the ministry training program at Phillips, and we have just recently, this past May, we've adopted a new name for the whole center. So we still have the ministry training program or certificate for pastoral ministry within the Center for Ministry and Lay Training. And we've adopted that name because we want people to realize that the program that any of the educational pieces that we are offering are not just for those people who call themselves ministers, or those people who are behind the pulpit, those people who are going to be delivering Sunday sermons. The education that we're providing is really applicable to many of the leadership roles within the whole church. And so we really felt that it was important, and kind of our vision and mission is to equip congregational leaders, not only for ministry behind the pulpit, to be the pastor, but also to be good stewards, good leaders, and to really develop the talent we have within our own churches. In 2018, Phillips has always felt that it was important for the whole church to be having opportunities for education. And in many ways, our president, Nancy Pittman, has equated this program, the Center for Ministry and Lay Training, as an answer to a social justice topic for access to education. This program does not have a degree minimum requirement. Most of our students have bachelor's degrees at least, but some of them do not. They have high school diplomas, and I even have a few students who have just general equivalency degrees. And so we don't have a degree minimum with any of our training and continuing education opportunities within the CMLT. So you'll hear us call it CMLT because we can't leave anything good and alone, and we have to make it a shorter name. And they're also, well, all of the courses that we offer, you don't have to take them in a succession. You can take a topic that might interest you. You can take a topic in January and then not even take another course until next October. So you don't have to be in a course every session, and you don't have to take them in any specific order. So that's why it was just really a way for us to be accessible to everyone within the church as well. So all of the programs currently within the CMLT are online. They're completely online, and they are asynchronous, which means that nobody has to be on at any given time. So everybody's able to use their own time to their best judgment. If you're on at 10 o'clock at night or 10 o'clock in the morning, you're still able to access the same education and conversation and dialogue that has been there. The certificate in pastoral ministry is really what makes the complete program for the ministry training pieces. It's practical and transformative courses. You're getting a theological breadth of education, but you're also getting pieces of information and tools and tricks that you're able to put into play or put into your role or leadership or in your role as pastor immediately. That's my goal for every class, is for our students to be able to take something they've learned from a course and put it into effect at their congregation then. At that time. That's my goal, is to make sure everybody is able to make it applicable to what they're doing. As we said, education within not only our degree programs, but with the CMLT, it's really for the lay leaders, for commissioned pastors, and for ordained pastors. I've had quite a few ordained pastors come back and take courses because they want a refresher, or they really felt like they might have needed just a little bit of extra help, say in evangelism or stewardship. They needed a refresher because they're getting ready to do a stewardship campaign. And so it's really a great way for them to come back and take some continuing education. And in many regions, this educational program, the Certificate for Pastoral Ministry, has been approved for those people who are commissioned ministers and on the apprentice track to ordination. And so that's really a vital step, as the disciples of Christ have kind of embraced this more experiential as well as educational track to ordination. And with this new name change, we wanted to make sure that people realize that we want to have lay training as well. Intentional continuing education for our lay leaders, for congregations, to make sure that we're not educating the pastor of the church, but we're helping them educate their people in the pews. And it's our desire to really serve not only those in pastoral places, but to serve with them. We're giving them opportunities for education, but to also help them educate their own congregations as well. It's our our thought that we're going to create educational experiences online. So there'll be online types of education experiences for laity of the church. And whenever we're done with, or whenever we've moved past and feel more comfortable with face-to-face opportunities, there'll be face-to-face opportunities. Many things we want to do, not only for lay training, but for pastors as well, is to have road shows. We would like to introduce a road show, that whole topic where we come to a certain place or space, and not just in Tulsa, in mid-America, in Illinois, Wisconsin, in Oklahoma, of course, too, but those places where the education is really going to reach out to more people so that they're able to access these topics or these opportunities for education. Currently, we're working on some pieces for elders training. That will probably be more online type pieces where you would download some videos and work with that in a small group of your group of elders within your church. And then we're looking at social justice topics. Leader development is something that pastors and people keep coming back to me. And whenever I go places or I talk to pastors or to people in the church, they're saying, well, how do I help someone to develop their own leadership abilities or recognize? That's really also another thing, is how do we help people recognize the gifts that they've been given spiritually? So we're really looking at some leader development pieces and eco-spirituality, the green chalice kind of pieces, how we connect with God and how we connect theologically to the ways that we take care of and care for the earth and how we are called to do that. So those are the kind of things we're talking about right now. It's my desire to keep talking, keep my finger on the pulse of our church, and to know what you might hope to learn. What else? There might be topics that are just brimming in your mind that you would want to share with me. So I would invite you to be thinking about that and to share those topics with me, what you think might be an appropriate, intentional lay training or congregational training. As we kind of mentioned throughout all of this, our classes are relevant, and they're relevant ministry and congregational classes. We've got stewardship classes, especially within the CMLT. All of the classes within that certificate for pastoral ministry have been aligned with the 16 ministerial practices. It's really helpful for those who are commissioned or wanting to do this program for the apprentice track. We have communication classes, world religion classes here, definitely have biblical knowledge classes. We have whole classes, just intro classes for New Testament, intro classes for Hebrew Bible. That's happening right now, actually. And just really a way to connect with people with like minds, a way to learn from one another. That's one of the biggest things that I hear from students, is that they're so excited to come to a class, even if it is online, because they're really able to create that community of colleagues and community of networkers that they're able to say, hey, this is happening in my church. What would you have done in this situation? Or this did happen in my church and here's what we did. So they're really learning from one another and connecting beyond the borders, beyond the ways that we normally think of ministry and pieces in today's culture. And so I don't know, I think I missed out some of what Ulysses had said because I was knocked off pretty much, but I just wanted to kind of mention the price cost value structure that we have at Phillips Theological Center or Seminary and the Center for Ministry and Lay Training. We offer every student within the CMLT, and Ulysses can talk about the tuition aid for degree programs, but every student within the CMLT receives a tuition aid subsidy or a piece that allows the $350 class, which all of our classes would cost $350. But because of the stewardship and the wonderful donors that we have, they really only cost $75 per course. And we are really wanting to hold our lay training events to be very similar to that. We want to make sure that it's accessible for everybody. And I know, Ulysses, do you want to talk a little bit about disciples? And
Yes, I'll add, I did speak earlier on that every one who's affiliated with the Disciples of Christ Christian Church do receive 80%, but also the UCC, anyone affiliated with the UCC, and also if you are affiliated with a underrepresented racial ethnic group, you receive the 80% as well. So 100% of our students receive some form of a scholarship. It's going to be either 80%, which is $96 per credit hour, or it will be 60%, which is $192 per credit hour. So when you look at that price for master level or even our CMLT, the price is well, I don't want to go to the cliche, the price is right, but it really is. It really is. And as I said earlier, donors, those who came before me, those who are coming now, wanting to find a way to allow leaders, lay people in the community to receive a theological education on whatever level without having to, pay a house for it. Also, I said as the cost. When we look at the cost, because our faculty work with our CMLT and they work with the degree programs, so you are getting, you're going to be worked no matter what program you're coming in at Phillips, because our faculty do take very ownership in their theological understanding and studies and what they have done to earn those credentials. But with that comes a great value. No matter what you receive at Phillips, no matter what form of certificate or CMLT degree programs, you're going to receive a valuable degree. You're going to leave there knowing that you have been trained by some of the best scholars in our theological field. So we're very excited about that. And I'll give it back to Leslie.
And we really can't say that enough. The price cost value. The value is that you are leaving with a transformative education. These classes, we are offering them because of donors and because of the generosity of others and the saints that came before us. You really are the value of this certificate, this degree, this master's degree, this DMin. Those are really, they're just gifts in many ways. And so that's why we wanted to mention those. We just wanted to kind of always have to put the plug out there that your next steps are going to be to either contact Ulysses or I about what's going to come next for you. What do you want to know more about? What did we miss here? We invite you to register for a course or talk to us about the application for our degree programs. And then really most importantly, we also asked you, I know that this is being recorded for our broader audience, but we ask you to share this presentation. We ask you to share what you learned from some of this, and from our Q&A that's going to follow. We ask you to share that with people within your circles. I know that you will do that, and I know that's actually how some of you got here today, is by people sharing their experiences. So we really just kind of want to open it up now for questions, anything that you guys might think of or need to have answered.
And I would like to say this before we start. If you would like a complimentary Phillips black or gray t-shirt, just private message me your address and size, and that'll be your gift from joining us from our team to you.
Bonus. I have 2 of those and I need more actually.
Okay.
Gray one and a black one.
Yeah, that's what I have. They're really great. And then people steal them from me. So does anybody have questions?
I do, actually. I was astonished to hear the information about the 80% off of tuition. And I am wondering, is that new, or should I have known that? Or how is that information, is it made available readily? Or are you worried about, having too many people take advantage of that so that it's not able to be offered anymore?
So, from my understanding, when I started school here in 2010, for my MDiv, the program was already in place. So I can't track back. That's a great question that I want to find out exactly when did we start the 80-60 rule, but it's something that Phillips is very proud of. So so we have banners for our CMLT with their price. well, with that price, we have banners with the price for the all of our master degree programs. So no, we shouted from the mountaintop to the valley. So we will tell everyone, and if you're able, now it's one, I can say catch, but it's one trade-off. All we ask is that you write a thank you note. As long as you write a thank you note to our donors saying thank you and kind of telling them about your journey. Yes, my name is Ulysses Allen. I'm in my second semester. I'm so happy that I'm able to afford school through your help, through your generous donation. And I have 2 kids and I live in, Wyoming. And then we get everything together and we mail the letters because we want to be very thankful to the donors who give up, their precious, financial resources and other resources. So no, we don't mind. It's not a limit on it. No matter how many people come, if we admit you into the program, then we expect you to receive the 80 or 60%.
And so it's been there for at least 10 years since Ulysses was first with us.
Right.
And we don't see it for coming close to an end anytime soon. And I actually have students who are like, you're kidding me, right? That was a typo. It's like really 275 and we're not for the CMLT. And it's really, no, it's $75 because of that reason. We want to make sure it's accessible and people are able to have the education that they need for ministry and not have to go into the debt that so many people hear about whenever you talk about seminary training or ministry training. So apparently we need to do better, Susan, if you haven't heard of it yet.
Yeah, this is really helpful information. And I grew up in Oklahoma. I didn't grow up a disciple of Christ. I chose to go to Bright because of their 80% tuition waiver. This was in the 80s. I don't know what you all were doing in the 80s, but that's where I went because of the pastoral care program. The cost of seminary education, and now evidently what's evolved is the pressure that people feel to leave their homes and jobs and move to a seminary location to take classes, has caused you all to be really at the forefront of online education now for years and years. I've referred people to your program from Texas. I'll continue to do that. I want to ask, though, a hard question. I made a lot of sacrifices to go to seminary. My seminary degree under Don Pittman as assistant dean at Bright Divinity School. Nancy Pittman was in my class at Bright Divinity School. My program was a 90-hour master's degree. I worked 2 and 3 jobs. My family contributed to my education. My husband worked several jobs. He was in school too. And we made it. There's not a day that goes by in my life that I don't say, when I was at Bright, when I was in seminary, because 3 years with a faith community doing coursework is irreplaceable. So here's my hard question. How do you address in the community what's lost when people decide to get their degrees online?
So Ulysses can answer for the degree program side, and with our pieces, since our piece is completely online and we have been on the forefront with our degree program and being a hybrid model in which some of these things are, so you're not face-to-face with people every day, but there is rich dialogue. And so I kind of want us all to rethink, because I feel like what we're doing tonight is not a deficit kind of meeting because we're not meeting face-to-face. because I can see you, you can see me. And we have tried our very best to use technology in the very best way to create that community. And
I hope she gets unlocked.
She's frozen again.
Yeah, she may have to log completely off and back on again.
Well, I'll answer for my experience on the degree side of it with Phillips. No, leaving home as a high school student, graduating, moving to a campus, and realizing just the community of being on campus, room and board on campus, being a football player and all those great things. So when I look at your experience at Bright, by moving to Bright, making the sacrifices you had to make to attend school and to develop community, because it just don't happen organically. We have to spend time, develop, study groups. So you do lose some of that when you have a distance learning opportunity. I think what you gain the ability to stay remotely where you are, far as if you are at a church in, like I say, Wyoming, or you at a church in Texas, are you in full-time ministry or somewhere not in Tulsa, then online learning provides you the opportunity to stay within your community as you build, who can put hands around you, also help you with resources because you've been there. Whereas if all of our students had to move to Tulsa, I don't think we would have the amount of opportunities for students to have to work full-time in the church, because we would just won't have enough churches in Tulsa that may fit their style, their character, their culture, or their denomination. So I think the online learning, what it's doing now in our virtual world, 21st century, is allowing students to be able to, one, afford seminary without having to uproot you and your family or just yourself and move to a distant place to do on campus, to do school on campus with brick and mortar. Now, Phillips is looking at ways for those students who may want to. It's very organic. So it's nothing that's been published, but we are looking at ways. What if we had a student who wanted to move to Tulsa? How could we help and provide a shelter for this student to move to Tulsa, or maybe a group of students, and have a home that could house 4 or 5 students, so that because some students want to go to brick and mortar school. They don't want to do online. They want to be on campus. But then it's hard when you live somewhere else, or you live 60 miles away and you have to drive every Tuesday to come to class. So we're looking at ways, like I say, it's very in an infant stage. No one has come with an idea, but it's something that we're talking about as a seminary, because we do have some students who say, I rather do classes online. And it works out, like for me, when I came to school, I lived in Tulsa. So I was able to do most of my classes on campus. Now I did some online to double up on classes, did the concentrated courses, took one class on Tuesday and then did a class online to help out with those hours. But you do, and the tough question is, as we continue to move with this pandemic is showing us COVID-19, that something now we got to be prepared to say, what if Phillips needs 100% online degree program? How's that going to work? And because we do realize that I think the connection to a school, when you get to go to the building, like I said, your connection with Bright was unbreakable, because you were able to be there on campus, in class, face-to-face with professors. So online does, present a challenge, but it also presents some opportunities that coming to class brick and mortar full-time would not. But
Yeah.
thank you for the question.
I hear you. And I do want to say that I like it that you have them write thank you notes. We did that at my seminary too. And the investment, Mr. Quick Trip, I can't remember his name, but the investment that people have made for the long-term theological education and health and stability of the church is immense. And I feel a lot of gratitude about that. So I appreciate you mentioning that in your presentation. I think that's a good technique to use. Thank you.
And I have a question. I heard you mention that Bright had a 80% program, scholarship program. Thanks, Bright. That could have been that could have been the springboard of when Phillips, because you know Phillips Seminary was at Phillips University in Enid, but in I think it was 1990s, mid 90s, it moved to Tulsa. That could have been when I know Dr. Pittman. Bright and Phillips has always had a good relationship. Many faculty members from Bright, faculty members took classes at Bright and received degrees from Bright. So we understand that important role, that connection.
Yeah, I don't know this, and so I won't speak of it, but I would imagine that almost all of our disciples, if not all seminaries, have some version of reimbursement, because otherwise nobody would go there. But yeah, Bryce is 80%, yours is 80%. Did I understand you to say that that's only for disciples in UCC? It's not for other denominations?
It's for disciples, UCC, and underrepresented racial and ethnic groups receive 80. Everyone else receives 60.
Okay.
Except in the CMLT where everybody gets the same.
Yeah. Okay. So MDiv students, MDiv, DMin, and PhD get 80%, unless they're not disciples or UCC or underrepresented. Okay, that's real helpful to know. That's a real important part of your presentation. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Let me jump in here and say, okay, it's 7:47. So Angela, Dawn, you guys get the next two questions, and that'll probably wrap us up.
I do have a question. You had mentioned, Leslie, that there are several people in your lay training that are like high school graduates and things. They don't have any college education beyond that. Has Phillips looked at providing what would be called like a bridge program? So you have someone that's going through the lay training. They're very interested in the master's in divinity, but they don't have that bachelor's degree. So is there something you guys are looking for that maybe you can bridge them so they can go from one to the other, or maybe do a year or two that would be considered a bachelor's degree and then move to the master's of divinity?
So we have a lot of different pieces. There are a percentage of our students who we can accept who don't have the bachelor's degree for some of our degree programs. And that is just standard for all ATS schools. But we are getting other accreditation for Phillips through HLC, which will higher learning certification, I think. I can't remember the exact title, but it's also, we have been thinking, as Missouri School for Religion students express that same information, or that same desire, we worked with Columbia College, which is in Columbia, Missouri, and also a disciples college to provide college credit for the courses that they were taking.
That's good.
And so we are looking and exploring at those options again. Typically, or we have opened that conversation up with other disciples undergraduate institutions. And that could be Drury, that could be back to Columbia College, but those are pieces that we will look to in the future, but they're not on the horizon for the next 2 years because we have to get the right accreditation and the right amount of information.
Thank you.
Dawn, do you need help unmuting? Susan, can you unmute him?
Okay, are we on? Now we're on. Now we're on. Okay, thanks. I was hitting the unmute button, but anyway, well, I just have to say, I went to Phillips Seminary 1971 and 1974, and I think of the experience there was 3 of the best years of my life when you get down to it. It really was, without any question. There were a lot of us that were single, and then we had the churches to go to. And so, and there was a student body. We were involved with student body things. And that was a great value to us, interacting with one another. And I wouldn't trade that. But what I want to say is, when I begin to hear about the start of this, what's going on, the programs you're talking about now, and I knew Leslie from being up here Northeast Missouri, where she was active in the district in many ways with it. And Ulysses, I'm really encouraged by what I'm hearing all the way around. I couldn't be happier to hear the news that you all have and what you're trying to do. It's wonderful, and I don't know what we'd do without it. I mean, it's incredible what you're doing, and just keep it up and know that our prayers are with you. And I think of so many churches that need to have some ministers there. I think of people in churches that want more education. And I just say, amen, amen, amen. And just keep going. Just keep going. You're not alone. We appreciate everything you're doing. It's making a difference. Okay? All right.
Yeah, beautiful, beautiful testimony.
Thank you, Don.
Yeah.
That's encouraging.
Yeah, I'm excited too. And thank you for taking time to be with us tonight and talk us through what you're doing.
Well, thanks for having us and allowing us to be a part of the bigger church. We're so happy to be able to engage with people outside of where we are locally, and just really happy. You know, my roots are here in Mid-America, and I'm glad to bring my friend Ulysses along.
Thank you very much, Leslie. Thank you very much, Regional Minister. Thank everyone who's participated tonight. I felt we've had a great time. I'm excited. I thank you for the encouragement. It's awesome for you to come and share your time and share this space with us. We do understand that Phillips is a partner. Phillips is a friend to the Disciples of Christ Mid-America. So whatever we can do, we want to continue to support. We know Leslie is doing great things, and we're very proud of that and excited. So thank you so much for this opportunity.
Beautiful. Susan, I want to thank you for working after hours. You and Leslie, Ulysses too, and Angela and Don, thank you for coming tonight. Thanks for your leadership in the church and all you all are giving to the church. And Ulysses and Leslie, I look forward to seeing you on campus real soon.
We'll have all of you down. Thanks,
Fantastic.
guys.
Fantastic. All right, go with God, and we'll see you the next time.
Thank you.
Here, bye-bye.
Bye. Bye.